All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope you don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board for the board. We hope that you enjoy.
Hello and welcome to episode 139 of the KissFAQ podcast. I'm your host, Ken, and I am joined by Daniel, who's from Sweden. And it's just the two of us this week. The other guys are, three of them are out in Nashville at the Nashville Rock N Pod Expo. And I guess if you're in the area, you can still go to that. That's going to be going on Saturday this weekend. So, you know, if you can, get out there and you can check out all the podcasts. You can meet our guys, Julian, Marcus, and Lonnie are going to be there. So that should be pretty fun. And then there's a bunch of other, podcasters out there from the other ones we know. Podcast Rock City and Decibel Geeks, and so on. There's just the best of the best, I guess you could say, there. All right, so we have some news. Not much news going on in the Kiss world right now. Still, a lot of the talk is, about the Vinnie Vincent hopefully appearing at that Expo in Atlanta in January of 2018, and I bought a ticket.
Cool.
So I'm hoping, I know Julian did, and Lonnie has too. So I'm hoping to, meet him if possible. If nothing, falls apart there. What do you think?
Well, he did a tour of Europe, if you remember, an Expo tour back in, I think it was 95, 96, somewhere around there. And I just read up on that because I was a member of Firehouse magazine and Strike. And they wrote a lot about that, and it was a total disaster. I mean, it was good for some shows, but after a while he started to have these huge demands on security, and he was paranoid, and his wig started falling off. I never knew he had a wig. I think he had some good wigs. I didn't see it.
No.
But and suddenly he just left. He left the tour and the final shows they did without him. So I'm not really sure he will show up. I don't think he has become, better in the last, 20 years or something. He has stayed out of the limelight, and I'm not sure he will go through with this. I hope he will. But he's just a strange guy, and a great musician. So.
Yeah. I mean, I've never met him. I've heard stories and things, so I can't judge by not knowing the guy. Just by a few circumstances and things. Some things he's done, of course. Then there's other people where he's perfectly fine and very talkative and so on. So I hear both sides, and so I
maybe he can do it for one show. He can be talkative and social in Atlanta, but if you have to do a lot of them, I don't think he will.
A stretch of them may not be good. I think the only kind of stretch that he can handle, it would be like in concert kind of tour where he's just doing his thing, playing guitar and that sort of thing. But I don't know if we'll ever see that again.
He does great jacket. Otherwise, that guy, he seems like a strange dude with that talent. It's so unfortunate he didn't do more the last 20 years. So unfortunate.
And sometimes I don't want to call him a genius or anything, but he's pretty darn good on the guitar, and usually if you have that, certain people that have that genius kind of thing. Maybe he's not genius again. I'm not going to say he's a genius, but you have very talented in certain areas. You tend to be a little different sometimes than other people.
Do you know one or two geniuses yourself? I mean, I know one or two borderline geniuses here back home, and they are pretty hard to to be around when you don't talk about the things they want to talk about. So
Right.
so they like have all their focus on one thing and can't handle other stuff. It's like something, you know, you have this big brain, but something is missing on the other side because you have this big brain.
Yeah, this one side took
I
over
think
the
it's
other.
typical of geniuses. I think it's a pattern that you can see. Yeah.
So.
Yngwie Malmsteen is another guitar hero. No one can work with him.
Right.
Swedish.
I don't know if people could work with Mozart. You know, I don't know. You know, same kind of thing. All right. So otherwise in the news we have, like I said, the Nashville thing going on, and you know, Kiss has been doing these one-off shows here and there, casino, that kind of stuff. Not much there. Otherwise, today it's Gene Simmons' birthday, and so I want to wish Gene Simmons happy birthday. I think I want to say he's turned 68. I think it's 68.
Yep, he was born in 49, so that's correct.
Okay, and so what are your thoughts? I mean, we'll just go quick here. What are your thoughts, or you know, about Gene? You know, anything about? What do you think about him in general?
Well, zum Geburtstag viel Glück, zum Geburtstag viel Glück, zum Geburtstag, liebe Gene, zum Geburtstag viel Glück. I have to sing a little bit for him first. Okay, so, well, Gene, what can you say about him that haven't been said? Live, I think he still got it.
Yeah.
He's a bit lethargic,
Oh.
but it kind of suits his character on stage. You know, he just have to lift his knees
Lumbering
a little bit
around.
high. You know, yeah. He doesn't have to move around a lot, and he can still sing. And he got the moves. He can talk with the crowd and get the crowd reactions. So I still like him live. He never did the splits like Paul. He never did the roundhouse kicks, you know.
No.
So he's like, I still like him live. Personally, in his personal life, I mean, his going for the money. I don't know. Over there in America, it seems like, well, here's a real nice guy. He's got 30 million in the bank, and that's like something good. And this guy is even a nicer guy. He has 40 million in the bank. That's not the way it is over here in Scandinavia.
Okay.
We don't like to brag about our money. We
Sure.
never talk money and what people earn. It doesn't really matter as long as you're a good guy. But over there, it seems as if you want to show off how much money you have. And Gene is one of those guys. It seems as if his goal in life is to earn as much as possible.
Yeah.
And he thinks that's good. That's a good thing, but I can't really see it. I would like to see him more like focus on things that I think is important. You know, his mother was a Holocaust survivor.
Oh, yeah.
He could do more about that. He could focus on that instead of releasing silly toys and stuff like that. And also, I would like to see him focus more on the music, because that's the core of who he is. And that's why I like the solo tour he's doing.
Yeah.
Even though I would like him to do it more like he did a couple of years ago when he did that South American tour, you know, like rock stars of America. He was kind of more like into it. He was more like a rock and roll. He looked more like, you know, Revenge era Gene. Now it's like more like Paul McCartney or someone. He's just not doing that much on stage. Even though he's singing great, the band sounds great, and I would love to see it, but I guess he won't be coming over to Sweden anytime soon.
You never know. You never know. You could do something. You know.
He's a workaholic, so you know, if someone says, "Well, come over here and play 10 shows," and you get this amount of money, okay,
Oh,
I'll
sure.
go.
Yeah, exactly.
At least wine.
Yeah. So he canceled the show here that Julian and I were going to go to in Southern California, unfortunately. But Julian's going to see him in I must say it was Edmonton, I think. So he's going to fly and go check him out. I'm hoping Gene just somehow, when there's time, that he does some more shows and comes out in California here again. And from the beginning, he was my favorite member of Kiss, because I got into that kind of evil.
You were into Kiss. You were into Kiss in the 70s. I guess Gene was the main guy
late
back
70s.
then.
He was the face of Kiss, pretty much.
Yeah. When I got into Kiss in the mid 80s, it was Paul.
Sure. Yeah, it makes sense. And so, but I gravitated towards that kind of the Bat, Demon, Dracula. I like that kind of stuff. I liked Batman, so Bats. I mean, it's just
see that in the background. You have some Batman.
Yeah,
I'm
a big Batman fan. So I just kind of gravitated. I thought maybe I have an infatuation with bats or something. But so he was always my favorite, and I liked his songs. I really, Paul's a great songwriter. I thought Gene was a great songwriter in his own right. When he puts his mind to it, he can really crank out a good song.
We'll get into that in a
if
few
he's
minutes.
If he's in a hurry like he was in the 80s, it's going to get a little sloppy there, unfortunately. But I like him in general. I think he has a good heart, and he's a good guy. Yes, he's money, give me more money if he can get it. That's fine, but I agree with you that I'd like him to focus on the music. I wouldn't mind him doing if Kiss is not going to do an album, then he needs to do a solo album. Just do it and make it a consistent solo album, whether it's rock, whether it's Beatle-like.
I don't think he's able to do that.
Well, I know if he can get a producer to say, hey, you got to keep it kind of one style here and don't go too far off course, like When You Wish Upon the Star again.
He's such an eclectic guy,
Yeah.
Everything from the Beatles, and what was the song he released as a single from Asshole? That.
Yeah, I know. It was a remake of.
Yeah.
I'm blanking out too.
I don't even. What the hell was it called? It was big over here.
Yeah.
Firestarter.
Yeah, Firestarter.
It's
Yeah.
like something completely different. So I don't know. Ace Frehley once said that. Ace said that I'm kind of lazy. I don't work all the time, but I know the difference between a good song and a bad song. So if I don't work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then on Thursday I find this is a good song, and I make that. Gene has no clue. He makes 100 songs a week, and he can't tell a good song from a bad song, and I think there's some truth to that.
Yeah,
he's just putting everything out there.
Exactly, and he's gonna get released.
Workaholic.
He's definitely a workaholic. I gotta give him props for that. Definitely, he doesn't stop working. He'll throw everything up against the wall and see what sticks, kind of thing. The only other thing about Gene is I know he has his box set coming. Finally, I think I hear it's going to be out by the end of the year. To me, he should release it on Halloween. To me, I just think they should do it then. But I'm looking forward to that. I know there'll be some gems in there. Probably be some stinkers too. But any new kind of Kiss music is
I haven't heard is a good thing. Both you and me have often spoken about the importance of new Kiss music.
Yes.
Releasing new stuff. That's what keep things going, and I think that was one of the most important things back in 2009 when they released Sonic Boom. There was a surge among old Kiss fans gravitating against the band again. Yes. They have forgotten them for a few years, but they release new music, and I don't think Kiss understands really how important it is to make new music in order to be viewed as a current band, that you exist. You're not simply a nostalgia act. You're a current band, and I think Paul has said some things in the past that seems seem to it's not impossible. I think it might happen.
Yeah.
A final album or two. Yeah.
Yeah. So
hopefully
we'll see what happens. Oh, I hope so. Yeah. Otherwise, besides Gene's birthday, nothing else. So this week, topic-wise, I went on the board and asked for some suggestions from you guys, the board members out there, about what you'd like to hear us talk about.
the underwear.
There's one subject I said,
Crabs.
Not underwear. We're not going to talk about Gene's underwear. That's one thing. I'm not going to go there, man. I'm not going to go there. But there are some other good ones that I pulled out of there. And also Daniel has, I don't know if he pulled some out of there too, or if he has some of his own list of items too.
I just went through the 10 latest pages of the board and
10
picked
pages.
out.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That's a
needed
lot.
10 pages to find 10 subjects
That's
that I
a-
wanted to discuss.
It's
I don't
kind of
know if
like
that's good.
it's kind of like what Gene's songs. You go through 10
Yeah.
songs and you find out the gem in there. It works.
Credit to the guys that came up with the subjects.
Yeah.
They are.
So I'll let you start off with your first topic that you'd like to talk about, and we're going to try to go over these quickly and not try to drag them on too long.
Okay. I'll start with a subject that I always wondered about. This isn't from the board, but
Okay.
who would you like to see on the Kiss FAQ as a guest? Your dream guest, Ken. You're the voice of reason. Let's hear it.
Well, I'd love to see.
Of course, you could see Paul and Gene, but
Okay.
something actually could happen.
Something actually could happen. Okay. I wouldn't mind having Michael James Jackson on here. I know he's been more in the news lately and he's going to be at the Kiss Cruise. I'd love to have him on here where we could, talk to him about that era with, Killers and Creatures and Lick It Up. I think that'd be, some fascinating and great insider stuff that we might learn. We learned some new things about that period, and I think that'd be a good guest. Yeah.
That's great pick. That's a great pick. But we should have him on before the crew.
Yeah. Well, I told Julian to try to get him on. So.
Yeah, good one. I'll go a few steps down because that's kind of difficult.
Yeah.
But something that I have seen, in the mid '90s when you were starving for Kiss news, you, at least I was a member of a lot of fan clubs, and there were a few guys around that wrote a whole lot of good news articles and worked their butts off. And I haven't seen any interviews with them. I would like to see an interview with a guy that ran the Firehouse magazine. I think it was from Canada. Ron Roxburgh or something.
Yeah.
I have never heard anything from that guy, and he produced it was my Bible at the time.
Right.
I was 16 something, and I waited for that magazine. I got it from Canada, and when it came, it was like, ooh,
Yeah.
you were waiting for that time, and it was great. Always great magazine. He put a lot of effort into that one, and I've never really heard him in any interview or anything. And to see him, talk to him in a podcast, and he met the members of the band, and he traveled everywhere around the world and followed the band when they were not so popular. Late '80s, early '90s. And the other guy is that Italian guy. He ran a magazine called Strike Magazine.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that one.
Nico Cicerone or something. It's an Italian name.
Sure.
Pardon for the pronunciation. I don't know how it's supposed to be said. And he was even worse. He everywhere around the world. He followed the band. I mean, in several cities around Europe and also in America, and had great photos and great magazine. Have you ever read the Strike magazine? No.
I think I had one or two of those. Though I subscribed, like you said, to Firehouse, and I was on. I know I had Kissaholics. That was another one. I think that was that one. I think was Peter. I want to say it's Peter Arquette on that one.
Okay, maybe.
But yeah.
Yeah, because back then it was just before the internet started to,
Yeah, we were looking for some news. There was no more Circus magazine, Hit Parader, Rip magazine.
They didn't write about Kiss.
Nothing. So yeah, I was, if there was something that they're writing new stuff about Kiss in the magazine, and these are small books, like they're fan made things.
But pretty professional. I mean,
oh yeah, definitely.
They're pretty good, and I still have some Firehouse magazines and Strikes magazines in my bathroom. When
just
yeah,
all right,
you can flick through them when you're doing something else.
We won't go there.
We won't get into that, but I think I love reading. The Reader's Poll and Strike magazine.
Exactly.
Favorite tracks back in '95. Pretty interesting to see. Unholy, like in third place.
Okay,
after
wow.
Juice and Detroit Rock City, and you have 700 people who vote. So it's like a document of that time. I think it's very interesting, and I would love to see those guys on any podcast. It hasn't. We don't have to have them, but in any podcast, I would watch
I think
it.
It'd be interesting.
So, just that time frame when Kiss wasn't at a height.
Yeah.
These guys were the guys that got into it, met the band, traveled the world, and have all the facts. But I haven't heard from either Nico or Ron since the days of the fan magazines.
Yeah. Well, that's a good pick. And that's a good subject that you brought up there. So I never even thought about that we could, talking to those type of people, that would there'd probably be some interesting stories. Definitely about that. All right. So I'm going to give you my first topic. And a few people, I want to say 3 or 4 people mentioned they wanted to hear about, the Wendy O. Williams solo album, the Wow, that was on there, and I thought, well, yeah, and I told one guy that we did an episode, I was like 56 or something on that.
Very popular episode.
Yeah, and hey, I love that album, so we can talk quickly about that. One of the questions was about, were they all demos that appeared on that album, and was Paul pissed at Gene because he took some of the songs and I don't know if he was pissed. He's probably more pissed that he's trying to do the acting stuff. As far as the album, I'm thinking at least 3 of the songs were original demos. The music part with the vocals removed. I think It's My Life was probably a demo or recording, and then Legends Never Die, I believe, and Ain't None of Your Business. Those are the 3 I'm believing that were there, because Legends Never Die says that Vinnie Vincent plays lead guitar on that one, and that Eric Carr is on drums. Eric Carr has said that that he did not go into the studio to record anything on that. So that makes me think that Gene grabbed it and brought it over, and then they put Wendy's vocals on it. So that helped speed up the process there. And then they recorded some other, some of the newer stuff. But that album is fantastic. And what he did too is, if they are demos and then they record new music, that all sounds good. It sounds level. It doesn't sound, guitar tone wise and drums. Everything sounds pretty much in line with each other. It all fits together. I love the album. I always thought it was kind of a lost Kiss album. that could have been. And
It was so sad about then Wendy and how the things ended for her. It was,
yeah, so that so my thoughts on that. I mean, again, you guys can watch episode. I think, like I said, I think it's 56. Where
it's all covered in there.
We covered it all, but
yeah, you had that guy. What was the guy that was on that episode?
He's very into it. He's goes by the People's Elbow. I think is this board member name. I can't remember the. His
he
name
knows
right
like everything about that.
We haven't had him on here. I don't know since then, or we had him a couple of times, and then that was it. So maybe he'll be back sometime if he wants. That's fine. That'd be cool. So, what are your thoughts on the Wendy's album? Just quickly.
Quickly, I'd say that I think that guy that said on the board that Paul was pissed. I think Paul was kind of pissed. I think Gene did this without telling Paul, but on the other hand, Paul always said, if it doesn't make the album, it's useless.
Yeah.
And that's like like Sword and Stone, the best song that wasn't on Kiss, Crazy Nights.
Sure.
He's never said we should use that one. It didn't make the album, then it's worthless.
Right.
I don't agree with him at all.
Right.
Time changes. You can change up things, but I think that I don't think Paul liked that album. I think Gene went without talking to Paul, and Paul always tried to keep Kiss his main thing through the 80s, and he had a hard time getting Gene on board for a few years there.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where Gene was kind of off, but I wouldn't say I love the album or anything, but I would have loved that if they used a couple of the songs on a Kiss album.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that this didn't help Wendy Williams at all. She had a few more years, and then I think he went out in the woods and shot her head off or something.
I don't know what the story is.
Yeah, I think she did that. I think she went off in the woods and shot her head off, so she wasn't very happy.
Obviously.
So,
yes. Oh, yeah, that's a sad ending to that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
She was definitely, a performer. That's for sure.
She was a performer, but she might have. She took it far.
She had some demons, I think.
Yeah, she had demons. It was pretty clear when you saw her performance. Yeah.
All right.
This is my turn to pick us up.
Your turn. Go for it.
I'll just pick one that wasn't on the board, but I've always wondered, Ken, where are you from? You're from?
I'm from the United States.
Yeah, I know that.
California, or right now?
California.
I wasn't born here, but I've lived in California for 40 years.
Do you have
now.
nice weather?
Yeah, it's pretty good weather. Right, I can get pretty hot in the summer, and it gets rainy, in the winter. So, but it's not bad.
You bastard!
It's not unbearable.
Living here up in the north of Sweden, we're coming now. Autumn is starting, and then we're looking forward to snow for 6-7 months. So
wow.
Yeah, but so you're from California. And you might know some of the podcasters that you watch, because I think you watch a few podcasts.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do watch and listen to. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to. Yeah, you might say that. Listen to a few podcasts. But then I wonder, who is your favorite podcaster? And you can't say anyone in the KissFAQ podcast. You have to pick someone else. You can't say, "Oh, it's the boss."
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the boss. Yeah, I listen to a few other Kiss, a number of, not just Kiss, but some of those. I listen to Decibel Geek. I listen to.
But that's
like
always a Kiss podcast.
Yeah, Podcast Rock City, like I said. I do listen to the Three Sides of the Coin, but you know, it's tough.
I want a name here.
It's tough, Jeff. I'm just going to go with I'll just go with Podcast Rock City. I mean, then you got the podcast with
the name of the guy.
So I enjoy and who's known as the Godfather is Ken Mills of the podcast. He's very, very good guy, and he's been doing this a long time. He's kind of the guy that started a lot of the the podcasting for Kiss, and then he's branched off, and they have their podcast Rock City. They got the Kiss Street Science Theater was going on, and that sort of thing. I mean, I enjoy him. I enjoy his humor and his impressions of Gene Simmons and other impressions he's done. So yeah, I'll go. Ken Mills is the guy.
My pick is. Have you listened to Pot of Thunder?
Oh yeah. That's another one I listen to. Like every Monday, I usually listen to.
That's the only one I follow. Like on a regular basis. Yeah. It's simply because one of the guys is so funny.
Oh yeah.
I like one.
I think it's Chris. I think it's Chris.
Yeah, it's Chris.
He has that tone, the tone in his voice.
He has the tone in his voice. He has the edge. I think it's like two brothers and Chris.
Yeah.
Two brothers are all right, but they don't have the edge. And Chris, he doesn't give a damn. He tells it like it is.
He does.
He has humor,
yeah.
And I don't know if it has a lot of insight, but it's entertaining. So you just have to skip the first half hour of the podcast, and then the song starts, and you can start listening to Pot of Thunder. But that guy, I think, he's entertaining, and he likes Kiss, and he has no one that tells him what to do. Sometimes he's like going overboard almost, and like this song F-ing sucks, and he's telling it like it is. And that's, I think, the positive thing with podcasts. You don't have anyone, above yourself that tells you what to think, and you can tell it like it is.
Sure.
And that's why I enjoy podcasts. The problem is when you start making a name of yourself. When you have to think, can I say this, or do I have to sugarcoat it?
Right.
And then you start to see this doesn't really work. You need to have people that can speak their mind, tell like it is, and they shouldn't hesitate.
Yeah, well, we don't.
I like that one.
We don't have to worry about that, Daniel. We have not made a name for ourselves.
No. We can say how it is. And by the way, I need 2 minutes, So, if you can do something interesting now, I have to go to the loo.
That's cool. I'm just gonna go into one of the subjects then right now. Well, Daniel's going to read his, Strike magazine now and Firehouse magazine from the past. At this moment, we'll continue. I'll continue with the list. Another one. Someone was asking about the. Kiss lies. There's a couple of people about lies that Kiss, have told over the past, or inadvertently, I guess, lied. There's a lot. I guess you could say there's a lot of lies out there. For instance, one of them are, if you go back to the 70s, when Kiss was recording maybe, Love Gun. Maybe it started about that point. Or even, actually, let's go back to Destroyer, where, you get the album, it says Gene, Ace, Peter, Paul, on the liner, and what you see is, or what you think who's playing on the guitar, is going to be Ace or Paul, as rhythm or lead guitar. But then years later, they decide to tell us like, oh yeah, well wait a minute, there was someone else on that lead guitar. Sweet Pain is someone else, and then if you go into Love Gun, where they've traded instruments, and then you go to even after that, where you have Kiss Alive 2, Bob Kulick is playing lead guitar on some stuff there too. So I don't like the fact that they made it sound like they're the Monkees or the Beatles or something, where the fantasy world where they live all together in the same house, they get all together, they get along. I mean, I guess it is a fantasy. I would like to know just who played on what. A lot of artists, they'll list every darn person who played whatever instrument on their liner notes within the albums, and it's all, that's what I want to see. I don't care if Ace didn't play guitar on one song. That's fine. I just find it interesting. Okay, well, why didn't he play on that? But that's another subject. So that's one of the kind of lies that I don't like. The other lies is like, ulterior motive, like, or even when they say, we fired Ace, or Peter Criss left, right? But they really got rid of him,
They voted him out
because of he was just not there, he's just too many substances at the time. So those kind of lies, and the lies is like, oh, we'd never get back together, and I don't believe that. I think they always had it in their mind that they wanted to, do the reunion. So those are some of the kind of lies that, they don't need to do that. Just freaking tell the truth.
Well, I can understand. I understand to some extent. They always put the current band, at the front, and then they don't care about anything else. So if they're doing an unplugged show with Bruce and Eric, they say, this is the band, we don't think about anything else. Because if they would have said, well, we're doing an unplugged show here, but maybe we're doing a reunion next year, boys. No one would care about, the current band. So
well, that's true.
Understand them to some extent. You can't like, well, we'll bring Ace back around, so then no one would care about Tommy.
Sure.
So you have to push the current band, and that's
but what do you think about with them not telling you, who played on what? Like, even let's go to this one, and this is an easy one for you. Psycho Circus.
That was a bad one.
Okay.
You could hear
that was really bad.
I don't know what happened there, because it was such an opportunity,
Oh yeah, it's a huge opportunity.
I think it was in third place on the Billboard, but it felt like a mishmash of Gene and Paul demos, And one Ace track. They didn't do it the right way. It was such an opportunity. I remember this. You saw. I attended a few reunion shows, and you felt the buzz. People were there.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched 2 shows in Stockholm, 35,000 each night. It was like crazy. Everywhere you went around the city, people were dressed up as Kiss.
Right. Yeah.
It was like, this is like the newspaper, the first newspapers, the biggest newspapers in Sweden, the first page, Kiss. It was like people were expecting a second moon landing or something.
Yeah.
And then
huge.
They didn't capitalize on it. And my next subject is on that, because they missed out on this opportunity big time. They should have done more about it. 98 was Psycho Circus released in 98, I think.
Yes,
was it?
98, yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit late. I think they should have.
Well, I thought.
Yeah. They toured from 96 and 97, but they should have started building on the bus earlier than that, and they tried, but they failed miserably, releasing some strange stuff, and I have a question about that later on. But yeah, Psycho Circus was a strange record. It didn't feel like a Kiss album.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I liked the Paul songs, but it was classic, like 80s Paul.
Yeah.
Good songs, but you didn't feel the 70s vibe.
No, not at all.
Sometimes, if they would have released Sonic Boom back in '98, you would have
Ace, a bit better.
Ace on,
with Ace and Peter.
That one would have been number one, I promise you. Number one on the Billboard.
There you go.
Easily.
Yeah.
You would have a hit. But I know Psycho Circus is like a mishmash of, depth.
All right, so your next subject. What do you got for the next topic?
Okay, I have a few ones here. Let's see. Okay, we'll pick this one. This one was it was a guy. His name is Golan Paul or something.
Okay. And
he had a subject called "The Best Show of the Non-Makeup Era." Ken.
Best show, so best live show.
Best live show, yeah.
Of the non-makeup?
So it's from Lick It Up to Revenge, or Convention Tour, if you like that, or South American Tour, yeah.
Yeah,
92 to 95.
Best that I...
83.
Yeah, best that I saw.
No, not that you saw quite a few, but maybe you have seen something, like on YouTube or that you think.
I'm just going to go with, it's it's kind of tough. If you're talking arena, then
I'm just like the one you like the most.
Yeah.
Your favorite, like non-makeup Kiss show. Like if you had a friend over,
I would say
Yeah.
Well, I would have to go with the Hot in the Shade show. I know there's the.
Don't I won.
That's all right. Hot in the Shade show. I mean, it's the Detroit one, but I saw if the one I saw, which was out here, actually not far from here, and I saw that one, and I thought, wow, this is so good. It was so much better than Crazy Nights. I mean, Crazy Nights was such a total letdown. I was like, oh man, don't screw it up again on me. But they played a super long set. They had a great stage. Leon,
one of the best.
Right, Leon Sphinx.
Should be called Michael the Sphinx because that
Michael
was
Sphinx.
the better boxer of the
They
brothers.
they could put Muhammad Ali or something, but no, that wouldn't work. So, but Leon Sphinx, that stage was great. It moved. The mouth opened. They came out of it. The laser lights. That was the first. Yep. I want to say it's the first time they really used the laser lights more than ever. Right. And again, the long set and the fact that the set list they started with "I Stole Your Love," I believe, as the lead-off song. What a
I Stole Your Love and Deuce, the best.
It's like I hadn't heard that song. So, it's like I couldn't believe I was hearing that they were playing that song. And then some of the other songs.
They look cool.
They look good.
Nice
They kind of were getting into the proper look. They lost the rouge makeup off and the lipstick, that kind of stuff. They were looking like normal rockers. So that's the show, and I'll watch it on Kissology, and I just love it. Even
though
Eric Carr's solo was fantastic too. So.
It was fantastic, but I even like the first Detroit show more because I think that was a good show as well. And in my opinion, for me, it is also the Hard in the Shade tour.
Sure.
And the Detroit shows, both of them were great. The one thing about the first show was Gene actually screamed in Fits Like a Glove, and that's very seldom he does, and
Your
that
favorite song,
makes
I know
my
what you-
day. I like that one. I'm the only one in this Kiss FAQ podcast that actually likes Fits Like a Glove.
I like the song. I don't dislike it.
Not as much as
But I heard it so many times live in the mid '80s that I kind of got tired of it. That's the only reason.
Okay. The Detroit, the first and second shows, to me, those two are the best non-makeup shows that Kiss ever did. So if you're a new Kiss fan or something, I think both those shows are available if you go to YouTube. So go and watch those two great shows. Great, just the energy and everything. And that's something I think people don't speak enough about. The energy Kiss got when they removed the platform boots.
Well, they could really move around. Yeah,
they could really move around, and you see it.
Paul was all over
from
the stage.
'83 and all the way up to '92. They really moved around and jumped and round kicks and splits and everything. Paul never did a round kick in the boots in the 70s.
No, it probably would have. His hip would have been dislocated. I think if he did that.
They actually were later on, but
well, yeah.
But the round kick and the splits he did in the 80s and early 90s, it was like, what's the guy that sang in Van Halen?
Yeah, David Lee Roth. He was copying
David Lee
that more
Roth.
or less. Yeah.
It was David Lee Roth with a guitar. I mean,
True.
Paul Stanley.
That's a good.
If you compare Paul Stanley to anyone in the world that is playing a guitar simultaneously, I mean, Paul Stanley is number one when it comes to moving around with a guitar.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't think he gets enough credit for that, unfortunately.
No.
That was his main thing. He was a great live performer for decades. And now he just looks good.
Yeah.
He still looks. He looks
can't
good.
do all those moves anymore. It
was a long time ago. I saw him doing a 180 kit or 360 spin around or something. Yeah. But he looks good. I mean, if we look like that.
Yeah,
when was
that
it
age.
born? 52?
Yeah. Okay.
So talking age now, where are you in the Kiss age? I'm like Paul Stanley Revenge era.
What am I? Paul Stanley Revenge era? I'm
Hey,
like
look,
Paul
man.
Stanley. I'm like Paul Stanley. Let's see. Let me think. How old is he? He's 67.
52.
He's
Was born in
67.
52. What's that? 65, 66.
All right. So it's probably in like I'm like Paul in Sonic Boom era roughly. I don't know. I guess you could say.
Sonic Boom, Paul.
Or a little earlier than Sonic Boom, actually. Yeah,
Store.
maybe
Japan.
maybe somewhere around there. But yeah, that would
How's
be
your
my thought.
mathematics, Tim?
It's not very good right now. I usually use Excel spreadsheets, but I don't want to launch it, to do my math.
Now it's your turn to pick a subject.
My subject. And here's one that could be interesting. Boy, how do you see? I saw this one. The eras of Kiss. I don't know if you saw that. There's a post out there about the eras. How do you view the different eras of Kiss? So, meaning, some people view them like 70, Kiss 73 to 79, which would be kind of that group. But some people do it in groups of albums. Some people do it in member changes. Like, how do you see the eras of Kiss.
Yeah.
Or is it like makeup versus non-makeup?
Just off the top of my head, I'd say like the beginning to 70. From the beginning to 77, I would say, is the golden era.
Okay. Yeah.
When we were still progressing towards something.
Golden or classic.
Yeah, the decline started in 78. So I would say 78 to 80 is like coming down from the high, We've already done the greatest albums of our career.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to go down.
Yeah.
And then I'd say 79 is the big letdown for me. I never liked the Dynasty album.
Oh, really?
No. I didn't like it. Ace did a few good songs and Magic Touch. And I kind of like Charisma, but it was, going from Destroyer and Love Gun to Dynasty. It's too much pop for me.
Oh,
But I still enjoy Charisma.
Love that.
Save Your Love, is that on Dynasty?
Yeah, Save Your Love is on it. Mm-hmm.
Save Your Love and
Hard
Times. Is
Hard
that on
Times.
Dynasty?
Yeah.
So it started to become, what the heck? Ace.
The Ace Show
is doing the best songs, and Paul is starting to drop off, and Gene has one song that is good, and then you have like from 79 to 81, you have those albums. To be honest, I never listened to Dynasty, Unmasked, and The Elder. I never listened to those albums. That's like.
Wait a minute, you never listened to them before?
I have listened to them, but nowadays, I never listen to them. I never listen to those albums.
Really?
I never put on The Elder and listen to it from track 1 to the last one. I never put on Unmasked from the first one and Dynasty. No way. And I remember when I was a kid, we were a few Kiss fans back then, and we got into Kiss in the mid-80s, and our height of Kiss stereo, I guess, was somewhere around Revenge. Mm-hmm. And then we bought all the old albums. And one of the guys told me, what the hell is it about the old Kiss albums? I said, what do you mean? Well, there has to be something. They are like New Kids on the Block. They don't have any good songs, but they were popular. I still remember that.
Oh, no.
Do you remember New Kids on the Block? Step by step. Ooh, baby, gonna get to you, girl. That was Kiss on the Block. So that was a comparison. It was a bit harsh, but to some extent it was okay to me. So from 79 to 81 is the big downfall for me. And then the resurgence starts. Creatures to maybe Lick It Up. It's not a long era, but that was the resurgence. They started to create great tracks again. They started the Buzz. They got popular again. And then, unfortunately, Gene sabotaged everything. Because to me, Animalize is a great album if you split it. The Paul Stanley tracks. I love. Actually, all of his tracks. Maybe You Gotta Get All You Can Take. Not that good, but the other ones great. And then the Gene songs, also they are awful. Put the log in the, that's whole
fireplace
thing. And then Asylum. To me, it's a great album, but I can understand why people don't like it. The production is, so. Even though I still enjoy that album a lot. They started to decline, and then Crazy Nights. They tried to be like Def Leppard or something, but failed miserably.
Yes.
And that's the end of that era. Then they started to think, well, we have to get back to basis. So they did Hot in the Shade, a mishmash of demos didn't really make a lot of sense, but there were a few high points. You know, they had a few good tracks, and they started to get back on track. Then you had Revenge, which is, in my mind, the best sounding Kiss album of all time.
Yeah.
To this day, 25 years later, it sounds great. And then things kind of started to change, and then when that era ends, the rest is like nostalgia.
Okay.
And nostalgia.
Yeah.
To some extent, with a few high points. Yeah, I think they had one or two good tracks on. I kind of liked Sonic Boom.
Mm-hmm.
They had a focus. They had a goal. They tried to sound like they did back in the day, and succeeded to some extent. Yep. Monster, I didn't get that one really. I didn't like that one. Hell or Hallelujah. Decent track, but didn't get that one. So that's the way I think about Kiss.
Okay.
What about you, Ken?
Yeah, it's kind of tough.
Off the back of this.
Yeah, I look at it like, the whole. I guess I go more like by the members kind of thing, eras of things, how I look at them, where, Ace, Gene, Peter, Paul.
Anton Fig,
yeah, through Dynasty, because Dynasty is, mostly Anton Fig on there. The Peter Criss did the one, his Dirty Living song, he drummed on that, and then he was on the tour, which he then tried to sabotage kind of at the end of that tour, which led to his demise, I guess. And then here's Another Life for you, right? That about the drumming, and then the Unmasked, where Anton Fig is drumming the whole thing, but whose picture's on it? Peter Criss. His name's on the notes or whatever. Peter Criss drums. I mean, or whatever. And it's like, come on, they didn't have to do that crap, But anyway, so then you got the Ace, Eric Carr with Gene and Paul era, which didn't last long enough. That would have been a good.
Yeah, that was a good.
I would have liked to have seen that continue onward. Yeah. But then they got to that ran through the Elder, and then Ace was gone. He had enough. He said he thought he was probably going to kill himself or whatever if he stayed in the band. He was doing his drinking and stuff. So.
But Out of Control. Have you heard the demo for Out of Control? Did they do the demo for Dynasty or Unmasked, Chris?
I don't know if I've heard the demo for Out of Control. I had.
It's a great demo. It sounds great. It's a lot better than the songs they did for Dynasty and Unmasked. I mean, I don't know, but some of you guys out there might know that should have been on those albums. But I guess that was a big problem for Ace and Pete. Yeah. They got like too few. They could have bring good songs to the table, and Gene and Paul voted them out. So I understand why they left. They didn't feel like they had no say in the band.
Yeah. So yeah, I should probably go out and look for that one and listen to it. But yeah, I'll check it out. So after that, we know everyone knows the eras as far as member changes. Then you get the short era of Mark St. John in there. We had Vinnie Vincent, and then Mark St. John after Vinnie Vincent. And then we get Bruce, which lasted for quite a while, which was great. We finally had something stable in Kiss until then Eric Carter had his death, and Eric Singer coming in. So yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. Everyone knows the history. I don't want to go any more into this subject.
But Ken, what about? Why do you think they hired Mark St. John?
They hired him. They wanted someone. some super speedy guitar player, like, because Eddie Van Halen started the whole thing, and then everyone was coming out of the woodworks doing Randy Rhoads, all these guys that could just blister, just the
Yeah, but
fretboard.
there had to be lots of them.
Yeah, and
You pick a
yes,
strange-looking guy.
they could have
A
gotten.
strange-looking guy with cocaine habits.
They got lazy at this point. And, that's probably the whole band. I mean, Gene Simmons got lazy. He went out and did his other stuff. Paul Stanley didn't want to deal with probably bringing in a whole bunch of guys to audition, because he wasn't going to have Gene there to help him to say, okay, yeah, what do you think of this guy? This guy pretty good. They could then have a consensus of whether who the guitarist is. Well, I'm just going to call this guy of this guitar company, Charvel, or whatever it is, and not the I forget the guitar company right now, but they talked to some guy. Yeah, this guy's pretty good.
BC Rich, or
it was one of those, BC Rich or whoever, and they say, oh yeah, we know this good guitar. He's really, They probably asked for, I need someone who's going to play really fast and stuff, but without knowing that the guy has any melodic sense.
Fucking strange.
He maybe have written some song, but it has a melodic sense to playing guitar solos within a song. That's a key thing right there. So they gave him. I think he was like the only choice. Like, yeah, I can play faster than anybody else. Okay, you're hired. I mean,
yeah,
it's just crazy. So, and then Paul.
And now, when we perform live, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
wouldn't do that.
Paul has to kind of try to pull the reins on him within the Animalize sessions, because he's just going too crazy, and Paul's having to say, "Hey, I need you to do it like this. Slow it down. Try to do it this way." It's like,
do it again. I don't remember what I did.
So anyway, that whole thing is just,
that's so strange. But I think you hit the nail on the head there. They got lazy. That's the main problem.
It was lazy. It was lazy.
It's a lazy pick. They should have picked someone else, because it wasn't a good pick.
Animalize to me was a lazy album.
There's a Swedish reporter called Anders Tegnér, and he actually he wrote for a paper called OK. It's kind of big in Kiss world. They released a lot of great Kiss articles and had a lot of good Kiss photo sessions. And he actually visited Mark St. John after he left Kiss, and according to him, he found lots of cocaine and child porn at Mark St. John's place. So this guy was not a good pick.
That's a new revelation that I haven't heard before. So you're hearing it here first, folks. From
Anders Tegnér. Maybe we should get him on the podcast. He has a lot of information.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't want
a hard rock journalist.
Well, you may be stirring up some controversy here now, Daniel. So I forgot to switch to your next subject.
Yeah, my next subject. Okay, let's see. I have a lot of this. I only get this chance like once a month to speak about Kiss. So I'm really pumped up with this one. Let's see. Let's pick this one. Okay. There's a guy called Lord71 on the board, and he posted something called Street Legal.
Oh, Street Legal.
That's yeah. Sorry about the pronunciation.
Legal. Street Legal.
Yeah, legal. Of course, Street Legal.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, can you name your 3 favorite Kiss demos that never were released?
Oh, maybe, yeah, okay. All right. Well, so one is the original "It's My Life" demo, because I don't count the box set "It's My Life," which was recorded during Psycho Circus, to be real thing. That wasn't the original. That was just a too polished, what they call polished turd or whatever you want to call it, but it's just no good. So It's My Life, the original demo, and then another one I like a lot is Smoke.
Yeah.
Smoke.
Like
That
that
should
one.
have been. They should have. I mean,
Got
they
that.
maybe could have done a little bit more to fix it here and there, but it's pretty much a good complete song. I think that should have been on an album,
Great
definitely.
one.
I'm trying to see a third one. I know there's several out there. I'm just trying to think of a third. What was another one? I want to say there was another Gene one, but or Paul, but I can't.
Come on, Gene.
I can't.
Ken, come on now, Ken.
I
Okay.
can't think
I
of
can
all the
take my
names offhand of the demos because I don't
Think
listen
for a
to them
while,
enough.
and I picked three ones. My first one
Yeah, go
is
ahead.
Smoke, of course.
Okay, there you go.
What a great song. The second one is Sword and Stone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Never, I guess it was Ron Nevison's fault because he picked Bang Bang You over Sword and Stone. It's just incredibly stupid. I
Oh
can
yeah,
get
I
my head
agree.
around
I,
that.
I thoroughly agree
Yeah,
on that one.
you had a few other stinkers on that album as well, but yeah, Sword and Stone. No, we won't. That could have been a big hit in my mind. So Smoke, Sword and Stone, and I don't know. Can you go to the Warrior demos?
Oh yeah, I mean that would be a Vinnie Vincent.
Because that was before Creatures of Night. Weren't the Warrior demos like in '81, like something like that?
Right.
Pick any one of the unreleased Vinnie Vincent songs on that one. You have quite a few great songs on that one. So I'd pick Sword and Stone, Smoke, and one of Vinnie Vincent's tracks on the Warrior demo. That would have been a great song, great album, the Warrior demos. And Vinnie actually was a great singer. You never got to hear that. I never heard his backing tracks on any of the live shows. Even.
Yeah.
Did you get a feel for his backing vocals?
Vinnie?
Yeah. I never.
I've heard some lead vocals. I think he has a decent.
He can sing.
He has a decent voice.
If you watch like Kiss in Brazil in '83, I can't make out his vocals.
It's hard to hear. It's maybe softer.
If you listen to some of the bootlegs from the Creatures period, I can't hear his vocals there either. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, he is a great singer, but you can't hear it really in the Kiss music. And on the albums, I can't hear it on Lick It Up. Do you hear Vinnie Vincent on Lick It Up?
I don't think so. It's just the way it's the gang vocals are recorded. It's kind of difficult, to pinpoint certain people. Sometimes you can hear, Gene and stuff, but or Paul, but it's harder when the other guys to identify them as
so
much.
unfortunate that Vinnie wasn't able to fit the band better because, Bruce he couldn't sing a lick. He can't sing a lick, Even though he tried.
He's not a lead singer. No, he's
not
not a lead singer. No, he's
He's
not.
not even a backup singer,
Well,
But
I don't want to be.
Vinnie,
Yeah.
he is not a backup singer. If you compare him to Vinnie, if you listen to the Warrior demos and what Vinnie did there, I'm surprised you didn't, take notice of it more in the live setting.
The Warriors. Speaking of Warrior, that that CD's coming out, right? Which is, I think, the Warrior demos. The whole, it's coming out, and September. Comes out in September. It's on. You can get it on Amazon or whatever. I ordered it, so we'll see what this is.
Show.
So.
In the future.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. All right.
Okay, Ken, it's your turn.
Yeah. Well, I'll do one more subject from mine because we're getting close, maybe to the end here. You know, I'll give you one more after me, and then we'll call it. There's another one that the current about that someone left about. What do you think about the current state of KISS and what's left to accomplish? You know, so the current state of KISS right now, and I think I mentioned it last week on our show. It was either last week or the week before. That right now the current state of KISS itself, the band is kind of running on. I don't know if I want to say running on fumes, but it's in cruise control, right? They're not doing anything extra. You got your normal, of course, KISS cruise every year, once a year, but they're just doing these spot shows. There's nothing new that came out, new music, or new, let's say even DVD, live stuff. It's just, we just had the greatest hits KISS World package on CD. So right now the current state of KISS is kind of just going along. Nothing's happening. I'm waiting for something to happen. I'm like, it's too quiet. It's like maybe it's a quiet before a storm. I'm hoping that 2018 is a big deal. Maybe they record an album. It's going to come out in 18, and then they tour into spring or summer to promote it. I know that they albums don't sell well, but it will create interest in the band. So otherwise, what else is left to accomplish? Maybe if they can do that next album, and maybe they can get a #1 album. That's I guess an accomplishment. And the other thing of the accomplishment would be to go out on a high note kind of thing. They're getting close to the end, so go out on a high note with all the family there. As they say, the KISS family, living members, and hopefully get them all together. All these guys are coming out of the woodwork. I mean, Peter came out this year, who hadn't been doing anything. Vinnie's now seems like he's gonna come out.
We just have to say that Peter did a phenomenal job. I was very impressed.
Oh yes,
by his performance.
His show, yeah.
He sang like a god.
Sang great. He has always had
he looked like a
voice
man, but he sang like a fucking god. And it great. I mean, stepping around. He didn't do any splits like Paul Stanley, but he sounded great, and that was the most important thing. And I think it was a great way to end things for Peter.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I don't know what else do they have left to accomplish. Really, not too much left. They've pretty much accomplished about everything, but they just need to accomplish their how to go out in style on a high note somehow. That's the accomplishment. I don't want them just to peter out. No pun intended on the name Peter, but and just kind of fizzle out, and that's it. It's over. No, we need something big to end it. A celebration of the whole career, starting from the beginning, all the eras of KISS, and go out on a high note. So that's what I feel about that.
I'm with you on that one. I think they should focus on doing something in Madison Square Garden.
No, sure. Yeah, that's one
ending
of the places.
Things in Madison Square Garden, or I don't know, in
like
Detroit.
Are
there in arenas
Park.
left in Detroit, the ghost town?
New York.
But somewhere, New York or Detroit or something.
Detroit would be
big
good too.
And an easy way would be to bring in the old guys. Everyone would go crazy if they put like Ace or Even Bruce. Bruce is starting to getting.
Oh, definitely.
He's
Bruce.
getting some sort of
He's gotta be
reputation.
there.
People miss Bruce. You know.
Yep.
He was such a solid guy
He's a great
during
guy.
such a long time. You know, listening back to the time when Bruce played in the band, it's hard to find Bruce Kulick solo that sounds, like a messed up Ace Frehley solo. Bruce always nailed it.
Oh yeah, he's solid.
It was, to be frank, it was kind of boring on stage, but he always nailed the solos. He did his part. He played everything almost perfectly, every show, all the time.
Yep.
And he was perfect for the band. He didn't go against Gene or Paul a single time. They must have loved to have Bruce in the band because he was such a loyal guy.
Team player.
Yeah, he was a team player. That's, to some extent, it's kind of unfortunate because Paul and Gene could do anything they wanted. You would like to have a mix between Bruce and Vinnie, somewhere in between, someone who could, push them a little bit and still being loyal,
Right.
Bruce was like, I'll do anything you want to do. Vinnie was, I want to do my stuff. So somewhere in between would have been the perfect guy. But that guy never showed up,
No.
But, yeah.
Okay. All right, let's do one more from your list, and we'll call it.
Okay. We talked a little bit about the reunion era. You remember it well, don't you?
Reunion.
How many shows? How many shows did you watch?
In the reunion era, I went to one show.
One.
Yep.
And you're from America, you.
Well, they were going to come back. They were going to come back on the Lost Cities part, and then they were going to play at the Cow Palace for that second time around. But they didn't come. But I didn't travel anywhere. I went to San Jose and saw them. They were on a reunion tour. I didn't even have great seats, and I got my tickets fast. It's like I've always had easily gotten good seats or good tickets, and then all of a sudden this show, people came out of the woodwork and got tickets. So it was, the reunion era was cool, and I was so happy to have them back in makeup. I thought it was a cool thing. I didn't like the fact that they didn't back it up with new music right then and there, which we talked about too. I would have liked them to record an album and then hit the reunion.
But that brings us to the question.
Okay.
I saw them 2 nights at the reunion tour. I really was a fan of the pre-reunion tour. So
sure. Oh yeah.
I thought
Me too.
Peter was kind of sloppy. Ace was kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
But I understood that this was the only card they could play to stay alive. No pun intended.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they started the reunion tour. It was a huge success. And then they started to think, we need to release something. And then this guy named John Kiss, 1974, he had a subject on the board, and it was like this. Instead of you wanted the best album in 1996, Kiss should have ...
Yes. So they...
Yeah. Give him the answer, Ken.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can tell you this right away. I mean, and I always thought this is they should have announced that they're getting back together, which I did on the Grammys, but then they should have recorded, let's go out and make an album, just the 4 of us like we did in the old days. Let's have Eddie Kramer produce it, and then it just, put it out fast, don't overthink the music. Just get in there, make it more raw, loose, and put it out. Put it out at the same day that they opened the tour in Detroit.
You release
Tiger Stadium. You release the album that same day. you're already selling tickets for the tour, so it's probably most of them are going to be already sold out anyway. Whether the album turns out to be good or bad, it's probably not going to be horrible like Psycho Circus. So it's probably going to be better than that if they do it right. Release it the same day. That's the way to do it. Who cares about that? That was why they waste the time re-record stuff there when they can re-record it new music. What the heck? There's no reason for that. Just put out a new record at that time.
Fucking Ken, you got it. That's the correct answer. You nailed it.
I got it right.
I have nothing
win
to
anything
add.
for that?
Perfect. If they would have done that, things might have turned another way.
They should just listen to me.
But Ken, you should have been an advisor back then for Kiss.
Yeah, you're right.
But you wanted the best, and then they released Greatest Kiss.
Greatest Kiss, yeah.
Back to Lazy. I guess
a lot of those.
They had a lot to do, but they should have done things a little bit differently. And if they released an album back in '96 instead of '98, they would have received the #1 place in the Billboards.
Yeah.
No problem.
All right. Well, cool. All right, so
Is that it?
we didn't. Yeah, that's it. It went fast, but I want to thank the listeners or the board members too. That the guys that there's a lot of subjects that we could have covered, and it takes time to go over each one of these.
But I like this when we can
talk about
the board members included in the conversation.
Yeah,
we're all board members. I don't know why. I would like more of you members on the board to get involved in the podcast, because anyone can join us.
Yeah.
New name. It's great.
Exactly.
And you might even have English as your first language. It's so easy. I have to think, all the time what to say. This is my second language. If this would have been in Swedish, I would have been great. But today, I'm just, like this. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like Daniel says, if you have things you want us to talk about, whether it be albums, eras, whatever subject regarding Kiss and the offshoot of Kiss, information that's out there, subjects that we go over. I know we've covered a lot of things, but there's always something we haven't talked about or maybe gone thoroughly through. So we know anything you want, just put it out on the board, and we read it. We read the board.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. All right. So hopefully this episode will go up soon, because
otherwise we had a great conversation.
Yeah. Or if Julian doesn't like it, he won't put it out there for people to see. But hopefully he will. I'm sure he will. But right now, they're having a good time out there in Nashville. But I think he's going to get it out there. So anyway, I want to thank all the people of the board and other users who out there who are watching us on YouTube and on other Spreaker and iTunes and all the different outlets that this show is available. So we want to thank you again for listening, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.
Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.